Thank you. Good morning. I just want to understand the urgency of this legislation and this issue. Ms. Tarlow, I think you said we're doing this now to address significant health and safety concerns. And I've had a lot of difficulty from the start of this conversation, the issue of horse carriages 2 years ago, getting a fix on what those health and safety concerns are. So can you or anyone else tell me, in the last 10 years, how many carriage horses have been killed or seriously injured while on the job?
We're not aware of horses that have been killed while operating during, in the recent past.
So the answer to the question, if I were to pose it, of how many carriage horses have been killed while on the job would be 0, right?
As far as we know.
Okay. How many carriage horses have been seriously injured while on the job in the last 10 years or 5 years or whatever time period you have that information available?
Well, we're aware of 4 injuries that have occurred as a result of interactions on the street with vehicles, tipped carriages, that sort of stuff. I should say that there are horses that have died on the job from a variety of causes, but they were not involved. They were not associated with a vehicular accident.
And I'm also
But horses, like people, will die. I mean, can you attribute their deaths to their working as carriage horses?
I'm not sure that that's necessarily the litmus test for evaluating whether operating on the streets and in some heavily trafficked areas of Manhattan
that may not be your
is the
litmus
right
test, but it's
test
an important.
for whether or
But
not
it's important
the
for me
health
to
and safety.
understand that the number of carriage horses that have been killed on the job is 0. And the number of carriage horses that have been seriously injured on the job, am I correct that the number is 4?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that last question?
Am I correct that the number of carriage horses that have been seriously injured on the job as carriage horses is 4? I'm just getting that from you.
I think that's the number that we're aware of that have been involved in, that have been injured as part of incidents associated with, that are vehicular. There have been instances where horses have died as a result of, again, on the job, but from a variety of causes.
Okay. Well, how many carriage horse trips are there a year, approximately?
I mean, I don't think we have data on how many trips they're doing. Nobody's tracking the number of trips that they're individually making in a shift.
I'm told it's well over 100,000. I'm told it might be as much as 200,000. I think the Central Park Conservancy, in a report from a few years ago, put the number at about 130,000. Does that sound approximately right to you, or does that strike you as being an impossibly high number?
I don't think we know. I think we'd have to kind of come back and evaluate whether it's.
So, there are 2 things I think that are fairly established at this hearing. One is that this is an extraordinarily safe industry for the carriage horses. And the second is the most frequent response to questions that council members have had about fundamental data is, I don't know. And I don't understand the urgency of making such an enormous decision that will impact and upend not one industry, but 2, without having this fundamental data, let alone the point of doing it in the first place for an industry that's obviously well regulated and safe for all its participants. Thank you very much.